Have you ever wished you had a tiny place to keep your essentials without carrying the whole bag? Something small enough to clip onto your keys, your bike, or wristlet, but still roomy enough to hold the things you actually need? This mini snap pouch is one of those projects that quietly makes everyday life easier. It keeps your essentials right where you need them, and once you have one, you'll start reaching for it constantly. And the best part? You can make it yourself in about a half hour. Hi, I'm Victoria, and I help you sew practical, stylish accessories that are ready for real life and real adventures. Small pouches are everywhere, especially the little flat ones you see in souvenir shops. But this one has a few thoughtful details that make it particularly useful. The boxed bottom gives it depth so it holds more than you'd expect for its size, and the snap closure keeps it secure while still being quick and easy to open. It also has a small swivel hook, so you can clip it to your wristlet, a belt loop, or anywhere else that makes sense for your day, keeping your essentials close without having to carry something bigger. Now, it's a beginner-friendly project with simple construction. It comes together quickly, and it's a great fabric scrap project. So when you're finished, you'll have something small, practical, and surprisingly useful. Now let's look at the supplies. For supplies, you only need 4 things. You'll need a small amount of fabric for the outer layer and the lining. The main body is made from 4 pieces total. 2 outer pieces and 2 lining pieces. And each of those is about 4.5 inches wide and 3.5 inches tall. You'll also need 2 smaller pieces for the top flap, 1 outer and 1 lining that are the same width but slightly shorter. And you'll need 1 small square of fabric for the swivel hook tab. In addition to the fabric, you need 1 small swivel hook, 1 set of cam snaps, and coordinating thread. I'll link all the supplies below for your convenience. I also have a free pattern available for this project, and it makes the process much easier. The pattern includes the boxed corners already proportioned for the pouch and the curved top flap. So you can simply print, cut, and sew without having to measure or draft anything yourself. It also includes step-by-step written instructions with illustrated graphics that pair with this video, so you can use both together and easily make more later. You can download the pattern using the QR code on screen or the link in the description below. Now let's jump into the steps. Start by pressing your fabric flat to ensure your pieces are easier to cut accurately and cleanly. Then cut out all 7 pieces according to the pattern. 4 for the main body, 2 for the top flap, and 1 for the swivel hook tab. Take your 2 main body lining pieces and place them right sides together. Pin along the sides and bottom edge, then sew along those edges. I like to use an overedge stitch so the raw edges are enclosed at the same time, but a regular straight stitch with about an 1/8 inch seam allowance works just fine too. Next, we'll box the corners. At each cutout, bring the side seam and bottom seam together so they align and form a straight edge. Flatten it, pin it in place, and then sew across that edge to create the base of the pouch. Take the small hook tab piece and create a double fold. Fold it in half lengthwise and press to create a center crease. Then unfold. Fold each long edge in towards that center crease and press again. Finally, fold it in half once more along the original crease and press. Next, head to your machine and top stitch along the open edge to close it. Then stitch along the opposite edge to hold its shape. Place the 2 top flap pieces right sides together and pin around the edges, leaving a small opening along the straight edge for turning. Since I use wonder clips to hold the pieces together, I like to use regular pins to frame the opening as a visual reminder not to sew that section. Now, sew around the outer edge, following the curve and leaving that opening unsewn. Now, if you'd like more help sewing smooth curves, I have a whole video on that linked in the card on screen. Turn the top flap right side out through the opening. Use a point turner tool to gently shape the edges, then press it flat for crisp, clean lines. Fold the seam allowance at the opening inward so the edge aligns with the rest of the flap and press it in place. Top stitch close to the edge all the way around to close the opening and give the flap a clean, structured finish. Take your outer body pieces and place them right sides together, just like we did with the lining. Pin along the sides and bottom. On one side of the outer fabric, mark a point about 1 inch down from the top edge. Next, slide the swivel hook onto your strap tab. Then position the raw end of the strap tab between the fabric layers at that mark, with the swivel hook facing inward and the raw edges aligned with the side of the pouch. Pin the strap tab in place to secure it. I like to use a regular pin here instead of a clip so it stays exactly where I want it when we take it to the machine. Sew the outer body pieces together along the sides and bottom, just like we did with the lining in step 2. When you sew over the strap tab, I recommend stitching over it a second time to reinforce it, since this area will take the most stress. Then box out the corners the same way as before. Align the side edge and bottom seams at each cutout, flatten the edge, and sew straight across to form the base of the pouch. Turn the outer pouch right side out and leave the lining wrong side out. Place the outer pouch inside the lining so the right sides are facing each other and line up the top edges. Pin around the top to hold everything in place. Next, slide the top flap between the 2 layers at the back of the pouch. The right edge of the flap should face the outer fabric with the straight edge aligned with the top edge and the curved edge pointing downward. Center the flap and pin it in place between the layers. Sew around the top edge, leaving a small opening along the front for turning. I know it might seem weird, but I like to leave the opening on the front so the top flap stays fully secured at the back. Make the opening just large enough to turn the pouch right side out, but no larger than necessary. I'm using an overedge stitch to fully secure the layers, but a straight stitch is fine if that's what you prefer. Turn the pouch right side out through the opening, then push the lining down inside to form the final shape. Press along the top edge and sides to smooth everything out and create a crisp finish. Next, fold the raw edges of the opening inward so they align with the rest of the edge. Then press and pin it in place. Now, before we finish putting it together, if you're finding this tutorial helpful, please give it a like. It really helps this video reach more sewists. And don't forget to subscribe for more practical sewing projects like this. To finish the pouch, top stitch around the entire top edge, sewing close to the edge all the way around. This closes the gap we used for turning and secures all the layers in place. As you sew, make sure the top flap stays flat and out of the way so it doesn't get caught in the seam. Once finished, we'll add the cam snaps. Start by folding the pouch in half, side to side, to find the center point, and mark it lightly if needed. This will keep your snap centered. With the top flap folded down as if the pouch were closed, mark the snap placement about 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom edge of the flap. If you prefer exact measurements, you can also mark the matching snap on the body about 3/4 of an inch down from the top edge on the front. But here's a trick I like to use for perfect alignment without measuring. After marking the snap placement on the flap, poke a hole through that mark with an awl. Then fold the flap down into its closed position and press your pin through the hole to mark the exact matching point on the pouch underneath. This ensures both sides line up perfectly. Install your cam snaps at the marked locations. For the snap on the top flap, place the cap on the outside of the flap so the finished side remains visible when the pouch is closed. For the matching snap on the pouch body, place the cap on the inside of the pouch so the stud and socket will face each other and connect when the flap folds down. Before pressing the snaps in place, double check your placement of the snap pieces because it's really hard to get them out again if placed incorrectly. Trust me, I know from experience. Now that it's finished, just place your items inside, fold the flap down, and snap it closed. Because of the boxed bottom, it has enough depth to hold bulkier essentials while still staying compact. And the swivel hook makes it easy to clip onto a wristlet, a keychain, or even a bike basket, so everything stays right where you need it. Now, if you haven't grabbed your free pattern yet, you can download it using the QR code on screen or the link in the description. And if you'd like another everyday essential project, you can check out one of these next. Thanks for watching. Bye!